grade, depending on what state you're in, 4th or 3rd grade. They have a fingering chart and a rhythm study section in the back of the book so that each instrument can have a reference point for their fingerings and also practice, place to practice different rhythms once they start getting into those more complex rhythms. There isn't a glossary in the back of the book, but there is an index that points to the different pages where things like DC affine or musical terms are explained throughout the book. For percussion, there's also a lot of extra resources. There's a section about rudiments, arpeggios on keyboard instruments, and again, more resources for them to study. In terms of how the lessons are arranged, there really isn't any rhyme or reason to how any of it's laid out. It's just kind of, it's progressive, but I mean,
there's no like subunits. It just starts and goes to the end of the book.
Yeah, like one lesson will be about a repeat, and then the next lesson will be a new note. It's not really any kind of order, if you get what I'm saying. The book is colorful. It's within a scheme. It's not like out there crazy colors. It's just kind of yellow, black and yellow. And there is an interactive element, an online element that you as a teacher can purchase and your students can go on and interact with, kind of like Smart Music.
So the book itself starts very basic with the brief instrument history, how to assemble the instrument, how to take care of your instrument, because we don't want our small children to break the instruments that their parents got for them. The book itself, as we said, isn't too quick through much of anything. It's also not terribly sluggish. But the range is relative to each instrument. The rhythm moves much faster for percussion, and technique also depends on the instrument. The terms appear for full band, so they're not instrument specific. By the middle of the book, they'll have accents, some dynamics, eighth and quarter notes. Percussionists have flams. They have concert E flat, which is their new key signature. They have first and second endings and some harmony. The last concept presented in the book is the scale counting conquest. They have scales that have different rhythm patterns that they have to get through. We felt like the last concept shouldn't be covered until the end of fall of their second year, so like a year and a half for the first method book. And we felt like the central focus for the method book was range, although it's not a large range, but it does move quickly from the new notes that it has. Like, it's like, hey, here's a new note, now play something else.
So, one of the lessons that we looked at was explaining DC affine, and like Mitch said, before it, there wasn't really anything leading up to it that would signal that you were going to learn something like that. So they talked about note names and rhythm, so there wasn't really any lead up to that. There were two things presented at that lesson. There was the DC affine and then 8th notes and 16th notes for percussion, so that was unique for them. The instruments did not always play together. For example, the horn part was slightly different, and the percussion was learning a new rhythm, so I guess there was a little bit of like a special consideration for them. Counting exercises, there were the rhythm studies that Mitch talked about. They do have them in the back, so you could always find one that related to the example that you were learning the lesson.
It has it in the lesson. Like at the top of the lesson, it has the rhythm coming out.
Okay, so it was at the top of the lesson as well. And the helpful hints, there wasn't any at all. And then there was no transition, like I said before. The name is fun and exciting. So yeah, that's why we chose this, because because the book, all the examples were pretty much the same. It's like you learn something and they're like, I don't know, in my opinion, fairly boring. So we chose this one because we thought it was a little bit more, I don't know, exciting than some of the other ones where it's like, learn a new note and play this little rhythm. So this is what we chose here. And so you can see the example at the top is like the rhythm. They show you how to like count that. So you could probably come up with a rhythm exercise before you would actually play the little example.
And then at the back of the book, one of the full ensemble pieces we picked was America the Beautiful, and we thought it was good because it's something they know. So the book doesn't get that difficult, like rhythmically, it's dotted quarters and eighths, so pretty simple. And the notes that were in the piece, like they know all of those notes. They didn't just like throw random notes in there they haven't learned. We thought that this would be perfectly fine to play at a concert, especially because it's patriotic and they know it. And there's different parts for different people in the band, so that was really helpful too, to give some kind of interest when you're listening and playing it for a concert. And then of course they would enjoy it because it's America the Beautiful, so you know, why would they not enjoy it? And so just a brief idea of the variety within it. It's pretty much written like an actual piece, not just a study in a book. So yeah, that's Essential Elements. That's everything else.
Guys have any questions? What's the significance of Charles Mingus, one of the authors at Vandercook?
He's
You guys-
the director.
I know, but what's the difference between their collegiate band, his band there, and the one, and like wind ensemble here? So what they do with all of their music music ed majors, which that's like the hub for music ed in the United States, is they are required every semester to play in his symphonic band, but they have to play whatever instrument they're taking the method course for. So him writing this book, and he's the pedagogue for beginning band stuff, because he has people that are picking up an instrument and playing it in his band, so he has to teach it from the podium. So
if you ever get a chance to go to the Midwest Clinic, Vandercook College plays there every year. It's a tradition for the last 50 some odd years. Go listen to them.